Hi, I'm Justin Boyd.
I'm Brittany Pacheco.
And I'm Amber Churchwell.
And we are the Watchers in the Basement.
Welcome to the Watchers in the Basement. Today we are here to discuss Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, the third movie in the Wizarding World franchise. The Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, release date June 4th, 2004. A box office of $797 million, which is actually the lowest grossing Harry Potter film. Still, a lot of money. Adjusted for inflation, it's probably $1 billion nowadays. I'm not going to do the math, but almost 800 million in 2004 is probably $1 billion in 2023. Run time of 2 hours and 22 minutes. It's directed by Alfonso Cuarón. And by the way, did y'all know that Kenneth Branagh, who appeared in the second film, what we just talked about in our last episode, the name of that film escapes me. Chamber of Secrets.
Wow. I'm offended.
Brittany, this is my third pod this week. I've been awake since 4 a.m. So it's been a long day, but I'm trying to remember. Anyway, back to Did You Know? Kenneth Branagh, he was in Chamber of Secrets. He was in the running to direct this film. He, of course, would go on to direct Thor. Not a good Thor movie, but not a terrible movie. The original Thor? Come on.
That's harsh.
Come on.
That's harsh.
The cast includes, of course, Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, Emma Watson, Michael Gambon, Maggie Smith, Robbie Coltrane, Alan Rickman, Tom Felton, David Thewlis, Emma Thompson, and Gary Oldman. Let's get overall thoughts on Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Amber, when I say those words, what do you think?
I really, really love this movie. I do. I love Azkaban. There are some things that they just didn't get to address that are in the books, and that kind of pulls it away for a little bit from me loving it. But a lot of people in my life that I'm friends with who have only watched the movies and not read the books, this is a lot of times their favorite one. This one and the fourth one, Goblet of Fire, are their two favorites, usually. And I don't blame them. It's a really, really good one. There are some details that I wish were in here, but I love it in general. But I like it. And also it's like one of the few movies where Harry's hair actually like looks messy and crazy like it's supposed to.
Dang it. You took what I was going to say. Yes, it's the one time that they got Harry's hair right. Like the one time.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry.
So Brittany, where does this one rank for you?
It ranks pretty high. It's neck and neck with my favorite Harry Potter movie. Now, I'll let y'all know which Harry Potter movie is my favorite when we get to it. Obviously, this one ranks number 2. It is my favorite book in the series just because it's almost like a standalone story. I mean, spoiler alert, y'all. There's really not much Voldemort talk, like a direct
there's like
connection.
One mention, right?
Something like that, but
Yeah.
it's not like in the first two movies where the end or the final act really is between Harry and Voldemort or a version of Voldemort. This has no Voldemort whatsoever, and I think that's what I really enjoy about this movie, in the sense that it kind of just stands on its own, but it's fun, and it introduces one of my favorite characters of all time in this series. And yeah, like this movie as a movie stands alone as well, with the introduction of Alfonso Cuarón as the director. It's different. He put his own little spin on story and added some things here and there that just kind of made it feel like it's not dark in the sense of like bad or evil. It's dark, but it's almost like Tim Burton kind of dark. I guess you could kind of associate.
It's more moody. Right?
So moody. Thank you. That's the word. Moody. Definitely more moody.
That's the question I was going to ask y'all was, the new director, Chris Columbus, directed the first two. Alfonso Cuarón directed this one. You mentioned some of the differences. Are there other differences, Amber, that you can put your thumb on that you can tell from the first two movies compared to this movie?
I think that, well, a lot of it is kind of what Brittany already mentioned, that it's just darker. It's moodier. It has more. It's such a drastic turn from being so centered around the main villain of Voldemort by being. I mean, it's still intertied because considering we think that the Prisoner of Azkaban is associated to Voldemort, so it's like
Right.
still there. There's still that undercurrent, but it's more interpersonal to Harry's life and Harry's background than just what happened to his parents. It's more of who his parents were, and also this really defines Harry as a character and defines a lot of other things in the future.
Yeah.
That we are going to cover in the future movies and future books. That it just makes I think it was really good developmentally, and but yeah, it's almost the night and day difference, and not just in screen brightness. It is the introduction of the Dementors was it's a very pivotal moment in the series because of what they represent and what they do, and what the author created them for. But I think introducing something so dark, and even the Boggart, even though that is kind of a more lighthearted thing, introducing these darker themes and darker characters and darker beings, I guess, is sort of enriching the world a little bit to me.
And it's also indirectly introducing Thestrals, right? Because you see the carriages just travel on their own from Hogsmeade to the castle, and you don't see what's pulling them. So again, like what Amber's talking about, these kind of darker themes, these darker creatures that we're starting to see a little bit more of, it's going to impact the characters as their stories continue, obviously that of Harry's. But I don't know, the little changes here and there that Alfonso added, especially like with the night bus, this triple decker purple bus, that's just so iconic in the story, the wizarding world, what have you. It's super cool, but also adding the shrunken head to this vehicle was so funny, because that's not something that's mentioned at all in the book, but it gives it that little added sense of comedic relief, if you will, when Harry's trying to just leave his aunt and uncles. But we'll get to that a little bit. But yeah, Alfonso definitely, how do I want to say this, made his mark, right, with the movie. I would have loved for him to have come back to direct either Goblet or any other of the Potter films, but unfortunately this was the only one that we got from him.
Brittany, a little bit ago I interrupted you. I'm sorry. Why don't you introduce all the people in our chat? Yes, we got a few here. We got Bricky Hallows here. Hi. She says she's loving these Harry Potter reviews. Thank you, Bricky. Awesome. We appreciate that. We also have Mel, geeking out with Melly Mel. She's multitasking, cooking and listening. Appreciate that, Mel. And then we also, is that it? Yes, I think that's it right now.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, you're here too. Yeah, you're there. Yeah.
Amber's multitasking also. She's on the show. She's in the chat. She's everywhere.
She is. And to those who may not be in the chat but are watching, we appreciate you being here as well. We'd love to hear your thoughts, of course, on Prisoner of Azkaban and the other things that we will be discussing towards the end of this pod. So stick around.
My real question is, did Amber use the time turner? Are we getting is this like the multiverses of Amber here?
You'll never know.
We'll never know. Okay. I mean,
just like my Hogwarts house, you'll never know.
You could tell us off air though, right?
Oh man.
We wouldn't tell anybody.
No.
Okay.
I can't.
Okay, fine. So, let's get to, I'm the real Potterhead here. We all know this. Let's get to my thoughts on this movie. Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of Potterhead, the Texas Potterhead joins in perfect timing.
Trisha, good
Perfect
timing.
Yeah,
we're just about to delve into it.
Yeah, she's probably actually a Potterhead. It's in her name, but
a little bit.
Yeah, me not so much. But
I
did notice, no doubt. I did notice the difference in this movie compared to the first two. I didn't like this movie as much as the first two. But
hold on.
I
need to remove you from this pod. I'm sorry, y'all.
No.
I'm sorry for Justin's ignorance.
No. Well,
he does not represent the views of the watchers in the basement.
If you're going to start apologizing for my ignorance, how much time do you got? Because there's only so many hours in the day, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
No, but so I don't like it as much as the first two. However, there are things I do like about it a lot. we already talked about the lack of Voldemort, which, as I mentioned in the previous episode when we talked about Chamber of Secrets, I like how they're building up to Voldemort, much like the Avengers built up to Thanos, right? Now,
Yeah.
does Voldemort pay off as well as Thanos did? In my opinion, no. But, I've only seen this movies like once, those down the line. But I'm just saying, like, I think that's cool that you're building up to it. Obviously, that's the story. A lot
Oh,
going on in the chat here.
don't worry, Mel. Justin's very aware of what the chancla is. He's very living in Texas
I live in
and
Texas.
knowing
Full
me,
life. Yeah.
he knows what chanclas are. Yeah.
I've known
Fear
you
the
for like
chancla.
8 or 9 years now, so yeah, I'm familiar.
God, it hasn't
But
been that
no.
long.
Right.
Wow.
Sorry to remind you. I was gonna say I do like the building up to Voldemort. I did mention the time turner a second ago. I don't love time travel in movies. Although Avengers Endgame is one of my favorite movies of all time. It has time travel. Obviously, I love Back to the Future. And of course,
Who
as I'm
doesn't?
talking, there's a siren in my area, but I think it's leaving. So, but I think that time travel kind of is like a cheat code in a movie. However, in this movie, they do explain it well. How Hermione, like earlier, they're like, how do you go to all these classes? And they explain that that's how she did it. So I do like that part.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mhm.
like I said, watching these movies now and really like paying attention and really like diving into it and doing like one of these like every other week or whatever we've been doing, I do appreciate these movies a lot more. But this movie is third out of the 3 so far for me. So just
Wow.
I mean, Sirius Black, Sirius Black, he doesn't enter the movie until the hour 31 minute mark. Like that's deep in this movie. And also I had to give a shout out to Dementors because that's Michael Scott's favorite. And we got to shout out Michael Scott for that.
The worst part about prison was the Dementors.
So anyway, we're gonna get into all the other nitpicks that I might have, or all the other things y'all love here in a second. But let's go to the cast like we've kind of been accustomed to doing. So this time we've got some new faces, but we've got a major person or a major change in a character. Let's talk about Dumbledore here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So this is the first movie with Michael. Is it Gambon? Is that how you pronounce it?
I say Gambon. I don't know if it's Gambon or Gambon. Like I'm not quite.
I've heard Gambon.
I've heard Gambon. He's Irish, if I'm not mistaken, which I do appreciate that they kept with the same cast, like nationality, if you will. Richard Harris, I believe, was Irish, and
Right.
Michael Gambon is Irish as well. So I really do appreciate that. But I'll save my thoughts. Amber, share your thoughts about the casting of Michael Gambon as Albus Dumbledore.
Dang it. Okay, so I don't hate it, but I think a lot of it is because this makes it hard because, as I've said before, I'm not really a fan of Dumbledore. I am sorry to all the Dumbledore stands in the entire world. I have already heard all of the arguments that you guys have. I just don't care for him. I have a lot of beef with him. I can't. So it's really kind of hard for me to like differentiate between, I guess, the portrayals. But Richard Harris is just different because I feel like he was very much more of the wizened old man. Like this is the guy, he's seen everything. We know that. Like he's ancient. We know him. He probably knows everything and knows everyone. I mean, he knew Nicholas Flamel, like one of the oldest people on the planet, probably. Like that.
Probably.
Like,
he was just 660 something. Good Lord, yes.
I don't know.
Dumbledore lived to be pretty old as well, so yeah.
He did, and
yeah.
Wizards do have like a little bit of an extended lifespan, but like
that's true.
Out of all of the avenues that Voldemort chose towards eternal life, like he chose the worst one, to be fair. But I don't know, there's just a difference in the character because I feel like this Michael Gambon's version of Dumbledore was more aloof, a little bit more like in the future books, he does distance himself from Harry, but I feel like Michael Gambon kind of already started doing that. Like, shutting down already. Even a little preemptively to some of Harry's, like, I just didn't feel that openness and that connection that Dumbledore tried to have in the beginning, that Richard Harris did. Because you fall into the same thoughts that Harry does, that where he's telling us everything. He's telling us everything. You believe that he's telling you everything, but I don't know, something about Michael Gambon's Dumbledore just didn't feel like that at all. Like, I kind of always felt like he was hiding something and keeping something like under his vest and hiding it. But
he seems kind of evil, right? Like, there's like a little bit of darkness in this Dumbledore to me, like just a little bit, right? No,
I don't know about.
There's conflict.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I think that's a better word. There's conflict. I agree with Amber with the sense of Michael Gambon's portrayal of Dumbledore is a little bit more aloof. Like, this is kind of a side that you don't typically see of Dumbledore even in the books. So, for example, the scene where Harry and Hermione have completed their time travel quest, if you will, and they run into Dumbledore as he's leaving the hospital wing where the trio originally are, and they run into him and they're like, it's done, it's finished, we did it. He goes, did what? Good night. Kind of like playing dumb, like I have no idea what you're talking about, right? And that's just not something that you really ever see from Dumbledore. In the books, he's portrayed as someone who is very revered in the wizarding world and doesn't come off as someone who's kind of silly or aloof, if you will. It's a very different adaptation, but I feel like this was also part of Alfonso Cuarón's, directorial decision making when it came to Harry Potter, and then also having to direct a new Dumbledore altogether. I think that's kind of like putting his mark on the cast, if you will. So it's a very different interpretation. It's one that I'm not particularly a fan of, and I will explain more when we get to Goblet of Fire. I think everyone knows who's a Potter fan knows exactly what I'm talking about without ever having mentioned it. But I will cover that bridge or across that bridge when we get there. But
yeah, I refrained from it. I was tempted, but I refrained.
Yeah, it was definitely different. It's not my favorite choice. But it also feels like we don't see a whole heck of a lot of Dumbledore in this movie, and I was okay with that personally.
I'm always okay with that.
Just to catch up with the chat real quick, Trisha validates you, Justin, about the whole time turners, one of my least favorite magical objects. POA is number 2 in the series. She's also not a fan of Dumbledore as well. Mel's like, oh my God, Prison Mike. Prison Mike. Yeah, Prison Mike's the best. So she also said to you, Amber, to let it out. Put it in the book about Dumbledore. How are you
I'm vindicated, man. The chat's backing me up here.
Yeah, and Bricky says, I didn't like the time travel aspect at the beginning, but POA has grown on me. And finally, Trisha says, Richard Harris definitely gave old school Merlin vibes, but I love new school Dumbledore. He feels more grown up. Oh, okay, that's a different way. Comparing Richard Harris's Dumbledore to Merlin, I can definitely see that. By the way, Merlin was Slytherin.
He was. I actually really like that because what you said, because that makes a lot of he does have Merlin vibes, and he feels more grown up now with Michael Gambon. Yeah, he does. I think it's also kind of great to see this is the movie where we see Harry not as a child. He is now a preteen. He's
a teenager. He's 13.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. Well, whatever. He's a teenager now. And like we are moving towards in the first 2 movies, he was a kid. He was 11 and 12. And this man he was seeing was just like this mentor, very relaxed guy. And then as we get older and as Harry gets older, he starts to like learn more about Dumbledore and like, hey, Dumbledore fought in a war. Hey, Dumbledore is like a very awarded, respected individual, like internationally. And you kind of see like this guy has lived a life, a long life, but a life. And it is more mature. It is more grown up because he is a person, he's an adult, and he has dealt with a lot of other things. And so I like that comment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Brittany, you touched on something I was going to mention about how you don't see a ton of Dumbledore in this movie, and I do like. It feels like it's a choice by the director to kind of ease this, recast in. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't see him until like I don't know, like maybe an hour into the movie, and then he's kind of sprinkled in here and there. I think that was a good decision with replacing. Obviously Richard Harris died, but you don't make it like front and center. You kind of gradually, add the new actor into that role.
Yeah, and mind you that these films, much like Lord of the Rings, well, not exactly. Lord of the Rings was kind of all filmed simultaneously, but these films were kind of filmed back to back to back. There is a 2-year gap between Chamber of Secrets and Prisoner of Azkaban. However, I think you're right with the easement of a new Dumbledore for the audience was good decision making. I'm just, in terms of who's my favorite Dumbledore, he's gonna rank probably last in the 3 because I'm talking about young Dumbledore from the Fantastic Beasts series as well. So he's Michael Gambon's going to rank 3
of the 3 official. Yeah, I agree.
Yes, of the 3 official, but
I mean, if we include the Harry Potter parody musical, then that's number 1.
That's fair. That's very fair. That's a different pod for a different day.
So Michael Gambon did get the role. However, did you know the producers originally offered the role to Christopher Lee, and they also offered it to Ian McKellen.
Yep.
Lee said, scheduling conflicts forced Lee to decline. However, McKellen turned it down straight up because he said, I'm playing Gandalf in Lord of the Rings. It's kind of a similar character.
Yeah.
And also,
it's a wizard.
And also, he said that he thought it'd be inappropriate to take Harris's role because Harris had previously called McKellen a dreadful actor.
Yeah.
And
no shade whatsoever, y'all.
Harris's family, however, expressed interest in seeing one of Harris's close friends, Peter O'Toole, become the replacement. However, the producers felt his age and health could become a problem down the line. So,
and that's probably valid. I can't remember when O'Toole passed, but I think it was much, much, much later, long after the Potter movies were completed. But it's a valid point. It's a valid concern. I do feel that Peter O'Toole would have carried the torch of Richard Harris's adaptation of Dumbledore much more closely than what Gambon brought to the table.
Yeah.
Just saying. I love Peter O'Toole in Troy. I think he was fabulous as the King of Troy. But
you love that movie though.
I love that movie.
You reference Troy a lot. Like more than people who are in Troy. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are people who worked on that movie and they're like, "What? I did that?" Like,
shush, you muggle.
Okay.
Silence.
So let's move on. We're past Dumbledore, the new Dumbledore. Let's get to the title character, the Prisoner of Azkaban himself, aka Sirius Black. Now, Brittany, I want you to start off on this one.
Yes.
This is your favorite character, correct?
One of my favorite characters.
One of your favorite characters. Okay, tell us what you like about Sirius Black.
I feel like Sirius Black just kind of represents everyone at some point in their life. And for someone who came from a pure blood family whose every member has been in Slytherin, they all pretty much follow this pure blood mentality and I'm better than you and we all favor the dark arts sort of thing. He's the one who kind of said enough. Like this, it doesn't have to be like this. And it really showed because he is the only member in the noble house of Black that was sorted into Gryffindor. Again, when everyone else has been in Slytherin for centuries. Yep. And his family eventually disowned him and he ran away to the Potters, which James Potter, Harry's father, was his
Mhm.
best friend in school, and he went to go live with his dad. What you don't know at the kickoff of this is that Sirius is Harry's godfather, but
Mhm.
Sirius, you're made to believe, is a mass murderer who was loyal to Voldemort, and all it was is that he was framed. He was at the wrong place at the wrong time. And I just feel like there's different aspects of Sirius's life that we can all relate to very closely. And in many ways, he's kind of very similar to that of Harry. You look at, as I mentioned, Sirius was disowned by his family. Harry's family that he has left, like, just hate him, right? They don't want anything to do with him. And that sense of not feeling like you belong anywhere, these two characters can relate, and that's how they bond, really. They're outcasts
Mhm.
in a way, and it's understandable. And I absolutely love Gary Oldman as Sirius Black. I think that was a great casting choice. I was more thrilled because I know Dan Radcliffe was a huge fan of Gary Oldman. So for the opportunity to work together, I'm sure just made his life. But there's so much more to Sirius in the book that you do not see in the movie or in the movies. And that breaks my heart. But Sirius just holds a very special place in my heart. And I think knowing that because he's Harry's last family, quote unquote, if you will, that's something that just, I don't know, it pulls at my heartstrings every single time.
Amber, what do you think about Sirius Black?
All of the above. I love him so
She
much.
co-signs, yeah.
Yeah. Right. Brittany does bring up a good point, because Sirius was treated absolutely horribly by his family, specifically his mother, but absolutely by everybody in his family. And we do see how he responds to his cousin later on. Like, it's so seeing somebody who was also treated like how the Dursleys treat Harry. Like, because we know that even before he was disowned, that his mother specifically, but his family treated him horribly. We know that for a fact, that his family treated him absolutely horribly, that it probably was very, very similar, just in how Harry had to exist. And so them finding each other is just so, I guess, heartwarming in the discussion that they have later on after the movie, like near the end of the movie, where Sirius asks him to live with Harry, to live with him. It was just, I nearly teared up because it's just beautiful, and I would have loved it for these guys to find family and solace and companionship with them. And even then, Sirius is just, he blames himself for what ended up happening to Lily and James, and with Peter Pettigrew, he blames himself for that this guy spent like 12 years in Azkaban because he felt like he deserved it. Like, how he could have escaped at any time. We figure that out. He could have escaped at any time, and he didn't until he found out that, he saw Scabbers.
The one who actually framed him was within close proximity to Harry, and it's like,
exactly.
Well, my time to shine,
Yeah, and I mean, just yeah, he was framed, and he knows that, but like there was other avenues. He didn't have, that just proves that he didn't have to stay there for the 12 years. And we know that what Azkaban, from the Dementors, the guards of Azkaban, we know what that does to a person. People lose their minds in Azkaban. Like, and his animated form is a dog. I mean, dogs need to roam and frolic through gardens, and he's just trapped in a cell for 12 years. And
I don't know, you say that about dogs, and I'm looking over at mine. She's over here passed out on her little perch, just like,
well,
living her best life.
Because Luna's very loved, and Luna goes on walks.
That's true.
Sirius Black, the pupper, didn't get walks in Azkaban.
Poor Padfoot.
I know.
Yeah, no.
He's such a good doggo.
Yeah, like I said, there's so much more to Sirius that you don't get from the movies unless you've read the books, of course, then you would know what Amber and I are referring to. But just from what we do get of Sirius, once again, you're made to believe he's mass murderer who's after Harry, because that's, the whole world revolves around Harry, right? Like, and, got to protect the boy who lived. You got to protect the boy who lived, the chosen one. And, for Harry to discover, when he discovers rather, that his Sirius Black is his godfather, and he was his parents' friend, and yells out, "He was their friend!" By the way, one of the weirdest lines I think ever delivered in this whole series. Yes. But to counter that,
it comes out of nowhere. It's very loud and
it's very loud, and it's just like, oh shit, like, okay, all right, Harry, chill out.
And also, Hermione and Ron didn't hear that conversation, so they're like, "Who are you? What are you talking about?"
I know, like context. But to counter that weird quote is probably the best deliverance of the line, "I did my waiting, 12 years of it in Azkaban," delivered by Gary Oldman. My God, like any opportunity I have to say that line in the same manner that Gary did, I will do it. Like, I have no shame in that whatsoever. So anytime on Pottergram, if there's a delay for some merch or something, and it's like, "I did my waiting, 12 years of it in Azkaban," I will do it.
I actually just said that because over the weekend I got a delivery of a wand that was from a collector wand from 2 years ago, and it's been I got it for $60 on Facebook Marketplace, when originally on eBay currently is $250 minimum.
F that.
So the fact that I got it for $60, I freaked out, and it's finally here. I'm looking at it right now, and I'm just, I did her waiting.
She did her waiting.
12 years of it in Azkaban.
Yep, there you go. Yeah. So no, I like this movie delivers some great lines as well. I mean, I know we're kind of just moving along, but with Sirius Black, he's forever one of my favorites. I really like the book characters way more than I do with the movies.
Yes.
Right. But Gary Oldman is on par with the book version of Sirius Black.
Mm-hmm. I love it. And I think also with Alan Rickman being a good, a great Snape, I think Gary Oldman did great as Sirius.
Yes.
But I love Sirius, and I love Remus, and
let's talk about Remus, because he's another favorite.
Hold on, let me put a button on the Sirius Black talk. I want to mention, as I said before, he appears at the hour 30-minute mark, right? But Gary Oldman looks very cool in this role. This is probably the coolest he's ever looked in a movie, right?
Yeah.
The tattoos.
Yeah, he looks really cool. And
I have a fun fact about the tattoos.
Go for it.
They mean more or less human.
Okay.
Which I think is kind of cool, and they echo the symbols on his wand.
Yes.
The symbols were created
by Sirius.
Yeah, to mean and symbolize more or less human, which I think is fascinating.
That's awesome. All right, Justin.
To finish up on Gary Oldman, I'll just mention. So he admitted that he accepted the part because he needed the money, because he hadn't done any major work in a few years, but that he was surprised at how difficult it was to pull off. He compared it to Shakespearean dialogue, so it was a challenge. It wasn't just a money grab for Gary Oldman. So that's pretty cool. And my favorite part about his character in this is when he offers Harry, he's like, "Hey, you want to come live with me?" Basically, that's so cool, because the other thing I like about this movie is there's not a lot of Dursleys in this movie. Brief Dursley action at the beginning.
I was gonna talk to you or ask you about that, Justin, because you mentioned how much you dislike the Dursleys. What did you think of Aunt Marge?
I liked watching her float away. And I was like, I hope she explodes. But that's probably too far for a kids type movie. But
a little spell casting thing is I have the Hogwarts library, the books that go into show spells and things like that. An incorrectly cast silencing charm causes people to inflate. It causes inflation and blowing up. So obviously what she said was she was insulting Harry's mother and relating her to a dog.
A female dog.
And she was very, very rude. I have always hated that conversation, but Harry was yelling at her to shut up, and he accidentally he blew her up, but because it was an incorrectly cast silencing charm.
Okay, good to know.
Which I thought was cool.
That is very interesting. Yeah, like, and who they got to be Aunt Marge is the same actress who played Trunchbull in Roald Dahl's movie adaptation of Matilda. So she's
perfect
wonderful.
casting.
Perfect casting. She's equally, I think she's more despicable than the Dursleys combined, just saying.
I agree so too, because I mean Vernon does treat Harry horribly, but she was gonna do a lot worse. You know, she asked directly, does the school beat you? And like relating him to like less than human. And but she values her dogs more than an actual human being. That is,
listen, this is where she and I will probably agree.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
You're talking to the wrong person over there.
You're talking to the wrong person about that. I value my dog way more than people.
No, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
No, you know I love Luna and
yes,
I love you.
Yeah.
She is just the worst.
Yeah, she's the worst. Yeah. Bricky says, "Oh, Aunt Marge, I found out just the other day that the actress also played Miss Trunchbull from Matilda." Yep. I'm totally blanking on her name right now. It's like Pam. What is her name? Anyway, continue. But
Pam Ferris.
Pam Ferris. Thank you. Yeah, I knew it was something like that. Yeah, she did great for her short-lived role of Aunt Marge, and yeah, it was. I like the look on her face when she's kind of about to challenge Harry after he's telling her, shut up. She goes, let me tell you. And like, just, she was ready to go. She was ready to, throw hands.
She's been waiting for this.
Oh my God, was she waiting? I'm like, really? You're going to go toe to toe with 13-year-old?
She did her waiting 12 years of it.
That's great.
Sorry.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
So on to a new addition to the cast for this movie. Let's talk about David Thewlis as Remus Lupin. I started to notice a pattern. He's the new defense against the dark arts teacher, which that's the third one in the third movie. So every movie,
you're supposed to notice that.
Yeah,
you're supposed to notice. Yes.
Yeah, it's a revolving door. He's also a werewolf, which I have forgotten and was surprised by.
Amber, wearing a moon shirt.
Okay. Oh my God. Amber, tell us about Remus Lupin.
You mean other than that, I love him?
Okay, that's a strong start. Yeah.
I've always liked Lupin and Sirius. I like both of them. But Lupin is a bit of a recap on him. He was also one of the childhood friends of Harry's father, James, and Sirius. And there's a third party there that we will discuss later. But we don't talk about him. Who cares? Well, they grew up together, but when Remus was they don't discuss it in the movies, but when Remus was a baby, he was bitten by a werewolf. So he has been a werewolf since he was a very, very small child. And turning into a werewolf is a very physically taxing, painful experience. And werewolves are very much discriminated against in the wizarding world. It's hard for them to find jobs. It's hard for them to find housing. Most people, and even in the books, like when Ron found out about him being a werewolf, was absolutely horrified and disgusted. And that really kind of puts it into play about how he was, because like he's described as wearing like really ratted bad clothing, really old things. Like he's just
scars on his face, and
like he looks rough, poor guy. But he ended when he went to Hogwarts and Dumbledore like worked away for every full moon he can go to the Shrieking Shack so he can spend his time to be as a werewolf. That was the whole plan. And well, he made friends in James and Sirius and Peter Pettigrew, and they became animagi. They could turn into animals so they could spend the full moons with him without harm. And that's just friendship, guys. That's beautiful. Like, that just...
Also, real quick,
Yes.
the Whomping Willow that we saw in the second movie was actually planted the year that Remus Lupin came to Hogwarts, as a means for him to exit the castle and find safe passage to get to the Shrieking Shack, as you will find out in this movie. As a
Safe and hidden.
Safe and hidden. And so the Whomping Willow, of course, you hit it, it hits you back, right? So it was a way to prevent students from approaching and maybe encountering a werewolf Lupin.
Yes. And we don't, this is again something that's not mentioned in the movies, but like this is one of the many reasons why Fulton, why Snape doesn't like Harry. And because
they picked on him.
They picked on him. The James
they picked on him hard.
The Marauders, they picked on him very, very much. And Sirius told Snape to go to the Shrieking Shack when he knew that Remus was going to be there later. That's like, werewolves attack humans, usually killing them, and if they don't kill you, they'll probably turn you into one. So, I mean, as a young kid, he kind of tried to kill Snape. So I don't really blame. Yeah, it was a mistake. It was horrible. It was very bad. You can't really blame Snape for being a little ticked off about that.
A little bit.
Like, gotta give him a little bit of credit. And I mean, he still works with the guy. He still works with him. Yeah, he's not happy about it, but he also still makes the Wolfsbane
potion. Yes, he makes the Wolfsbane potion that he takes every month. So, he hates the guy, but he can hate him in silence.
Yeah, and it's just, but it's very interesting, and I really I think Remus is my favorite Defense Against the Dark Arts classes. Yeah. Not just with the Boggart, but like, even in the books, like the other classes that you mentioned, I just really liked how he taught because he had so much fun doing it, and the students had fun doing it. The students learned so well, and I think it was the best that they've done in Defense Against the Dark Arts in years. So I just really love Remus.
And Remus is also like Sirius, right? Outcast. Not well accepted, and just needed friends, really. And so on that level, Harry can equally relate to, someone who had no idea that he was a wizard, had no idea about the wizarding world of Hogwarts, and he eventually finds friends and what have you. Harry also finds Lupin to be like another mentor, right? He teaches him how to cast this one particular spell to fight against the Dementors, who have some weird attraction. Not weird, but we know the reason for the Dementors coming to Harry, because Harry is filled with a lot of sad memories, right? And lots of angst. Oh my God, are we going to see so much angst? But the fact that the Dementors feed off of that, right? They will suck every happy moment from your life and make you only live the miserable moments, right? And so Harry to go to Lupin after he witnesses him send off the Dementor off the train, was really smart to do. But then he also learns more about, who Lupin is, who, the fact that he was friends with the parents and whatnot. It was
great. And also
it's a wonderful story. Yeah.
You hear him talk about Lily. Like most people, we've only heard, like, we hear a lot of talk, especially in the books, we hear a lot of talk about James. And Sirius was very much like focused on James. Because that was his number one best friend. But they were bros. But seeing Remus, I feel like it shows like that softer side of him, that he's like, I recognized you right away from your eyes because they looked like your mother's. And
he loved Lily. He did.
Oh, it's a thing. I mean, I agree. But it's a huge, huge thing. Kind of a unconscious agreement among fans that
he loved Lily.
Remus, he had a thing for Lily, which
Lily was a catch. She had the eyes of
Yeah.
many boys at Hogwarts during her day. We'll talk about that
Mhm.
in a different pod.
Yeah.
But anyway,
But really quick, before we move on from Lupin, I want to talk about the fun joke about that most fans already know about his name, the etymology of his name, because Lupin does mean wolf,
wolf.
and yes, does mean wolf. But his first name Remus. There is the myth of Romulus and Remus, which were two babies that were taken care of and raised and fed by a she-wolf
Named
and
Lupa.
named Lupa. And Romulus and Remus were the twins, and Romulus ended up founding Rome, hence Rome, Romulus. But the other one was Remus, and so his name is Wolf Wolf, and I think that's pretty awesome. And
Wolf.
his father's name was Howl.
Who does that?
Or was
Howl Lupin.
Oh, actually, no. I think that was the mother's maiden name. Either way, one of his parents had the name Howl, and so it's like, I'm telling you,
Wolf Wolf.
this poor guy, he was destined to be a werewolf.
Destined. Oh my god. Yeah.
Well, I am not an expert on Remus Lupin like Amber is. However, I do want to point out, did you know David Thewlis originally auditioned for the role of Corinius Quirrell? Did I say that right from the first movie?
Oh, the dude in the turban. Interesting.
Yeah.
Cornelius.
Okay. So he auditioned for that role, but the actor who got
Weird.
that actually, whose name is Ian Hart, said that he thought that Thulis would be great for Lupin. So it all worked out in the end. Yeah. So
very
nice.
Cool. No,
I
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
But I agree.
David Thewlis is fantastic in this movie as Lupin. This is not the last time that we're going to see him in the Potter series, of course. He has also made his mark in the DC EU. I had to think about that for a second. In Wonder Woman.
Yes, that's right.
He plays Ares in
He's kind
Wonder
of
Woman.
in Justice League.
Kind of in Justice League, yeah. But the one movie that I really appreciated his range for me was it's such a sad movie, The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, which is set during the Holocaust. I'm not going to talk about it here, but man, like David Thewlis, godly, I cannot say his name to save my life. Fantastic actor. One of my favorite castings of all time. Remus Lupin is, man, I think he's arguably everyone's favorite data professor at Hogwarts. Like he because he actually taught the students like useful stuff. And yes, he only lasts for a year, like all his predecessors. So yeah, there's a reason for it.
Amber's, you're muted.
You're muted.
Thanks. When are we going to tell Justin about why that is?
We'll get to that when we get to Half-Blood Prince.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I thought I was like really smart, perceptive, picking up on every movie has a different, dark arts teacher.
No, like you're supposed to.
You're supposed to. Yes. So.
Well, I did it. So
10 points to Plytherin.
There we go.
There you go. There you go.
So moving on to another teacher at Hogwarts who is also a new face of the cast. And at the time this movie came out, Emma Thompson was probably a bigger star than David Thewlis or the other actor. I'm sorry. No, Gary Oldman was pretty. He was pretty.
No, Gary Oldman's pretty big in his own right.
But
yeah.
Emma Thompson. So she plays Sybil Trelawny. Did I say that right? Okay.
Yes, she did.
She doesn't have the biggest part. Like I think she's like in what two or three scenes.
Eyes.
Right. Exactly. So what are y'all's takes on her? Amber, go first. The character.
I like Trelawny.
Yeah.
I don't know. In the past, I've always I think all like little girls who were into Harry Potter kind of relate to Hermione. I never understood why Hermione hated her so much. Like, yeah, she's ridiculous, but it's funny, Hermione. Come on, just laugh at it. Sybil is very extra, and she teaches divination. And another little like fun fact is her ancestor was named Cassandra, and Cassandra was a prophet of of Apollo, and because that she would not have adult relations with him. He cursed her so that she would have accurate prophecies, but no one would ever believe her. And so that's kind of like a little bit of a running joke for Trelawny, because she does have sometimes accurate prophecies, but a lot of the time it's just whatever. And
she comes off as a fraud. I mean, generally,
she comes off very much as a fraud.
Yeah.
But that kind of falls in line with Cassandra. You know, no one was supposed to believe her. Family curse, I guess. But a lot of the things that she does say, like even passive things, yeah, they're right. Sometimes they are right, but they're never right about what she's talking about. They're always right about something completely different, sometimes years down the line.
Yeah.
And very divination itself, she's very quotable, like the give me the cup. Are you in the beyond? It's just, it's
my dear,
it's funny.
You have the grim. Yeah.
It's funny.
We can quote these movies all day long, y'all.
I was actually just finishing Prisoner of Azkaban before we hopped on the pod, and I was literally speaking in time with her just because it's so funny. I like her, and I think Emma Thompson did an amazing job with Trelawny. It's phenomenal. She did great.
Now, Justin, did you know that Emma Thompson is Kenneth Branagh's ex-wife?
You know, I think I did know that.
And did you know that the reason that they were never cast together in the same movie
is because,
along with Helena Bonham Carter, is because Kenneth had an affair with Helena while married to Emma.
I get it. I understand.
So it's almost like a Jerome Flynn and a Lena Headey on Game of Thrones. You know, they couldn't be in the same shot.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah. Except there's that one shot where they are in the same shot. Anyway.
Right. No, Helena Bonham Carter, me likey. So yeah, go ahead.
Dan Rad. Also,
we're getting there. Everyone did.
I know, yeah.
Tom Felton too.
Emma Thompson's, again, these actors can act, okay? Yeah. Like, they have incredible range. Her portraying someone who's, like, quirky, and this is probably the reason why that Hermione doesn't like Trelawney, is because she's everything Hermione isn't, right?
Yes.
Hermione's all about order and being studious and logic, and it's the same reason why everyone loves Luna Lovegood, is because she is the anti-Hermione, right? Yes. It's very similar to that of Trelawney. So, and also because Hermione couldn't get the info through books, you know, she actually had to kind of, you know, work for the craft in a different manner, and she didn't excel in it. Like that's also
it was something she was just natural, like, because she's always been like so naturally excelling at things in school,
right,
and in magic, and that this is the one thing that you kind of have to be innately born with.
And you're not
be able to access, and
that's okay.
If you're not, that's okay. Yeah. Like, I mean, and if you don't have any desire to work for it,
nothing's
gonna happen.
But with Emma Thompson as Trelawney, you know, she brings that balance of, you know, some being funny, but then being serious, because towards the end of the movie where she does deliver her prophecy to Harry, it's just the two of them in the classroom. You know, the voice changed, the demeanor changed, and she delivers the prophecy, and then she concludes and she's like, like, I'm so sorry, dear boy. Are you all right? You know, like, were you saying something? It's just like, you know, just these actors can act. And that's what I've appreciated with these movies and casting is you're letting them act, right? And Emma just delivers. She delivers in everything that she is in. So great casting. Once again, this is another character that this will not be the last time we see. We will see her again in an upcoming movie. So yeah, Emma, 2 big thumbs up.
Yes.
So now we talked about the new faces. Let's talk about the big 3, the Holy Potter Trinity, right?
The Golden Trio.
The Golden Trio. I will remember that next time. I'm gonna write that down in my notes. So it's, of course, Harry, Hermione, and Ron. I feel like Ron is kind of sidelined in this movie. Amber, what do you think about that? It seems like it's more of a Harry and Hermione movie, and you can see in the actors that they definitely hit their growth spurt in between this time and between the second and third movies.
It is. I also think it's like kind of interesting that they already started putting like little seeds of Hermione in there. Like little seeds of like how Ron is always the only and first person to notice that Hermione appeared somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which kind of like shows in the back of his mind, he's always just
Thinking about
conscious of where she is and that she's not there or not supposed to be there, wasn't there a second ago, and he's always the one to bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was unfortunate. He was injured, so I understand why he didn't go on this great big adventure. But I thought it was very it's a lot more prominent in the books because we do see him, because Hermione just doesn't really do much in divination. But divination does, because of the prophecies and everything, does kind of become important. And Harry is always there with Ron. So like we do see like that kind of side of it, but it's kind of lost in the movies.
I will say,
yeah, no, you go.
I was just gonna say, this is where we really start seeing the big deviation from book Ron. Book Ron gets a lot of attention in this book because when Sirius Black enters the castle, somehow, no one knows at the time, right, and makes his way to Gryffindor common room, right? We do see in the movie that the portrait is slashed, what have you, fine. But he actually makes it all the way into the boys' dormitory. He makes it to Ron's bed. And for once, Ron is getting all the attention that Harry would normally get, right? Being the boy who lived and what have you. So
they took it out.
They just started taking a lot of things out. They started taking away a lot of great quotes from Ron, because when Snape's coming down on Hermione during his substitution class about, do you enjoy just being an insufferable know-it-all? Ron actually agrees with Snape in the movie, but in the book, he actually defends Hermione. So you start seeing those weird like decisions of the director or writers, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, book Ron is so much better than movie Ron. I'm sorry. Like,
he is. And a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people who just love Ron, and they like fiercely have to defend him because so many people only see him from the movies and they're like, oh, he kind of just sucks. Like, why is he there? But he doesn't. He's such a great character, and he's very important, and he's so complex, and they just give everything. And also, there's a lot of points that they've been doing this since movie 1. They give a lot of his really important wizarding world building quotes to Hermione, and that's unfortunate because Hermione is like the textbook know-it-all, but Ron is the culture of the wizarding world. He's the only one who actually grew up in the wizarding world. He's the one who grew up with witches and wizards around him. So when we learn about what a mudblood or a muggleborn is, he's the one who
explains it.
He's the one who is supposed to explain it, but they gave it to Hermione. But like, he's the one who grew up with that kind of words and language, and same thing with everything. And he is our key focal point and how we learn as readers and watchers about the wizarding world and like how we should react and how we should think. And I think that's really sad that they just shoved it all at Hermione and took that away from Ron.
Justice for Ron.
Justice for Ron. Well, also, didn't the writer, like, I don't know anything about script writers and things like that, but didn't the script writer ship Harmony? And he was like,
I wouldn't be surprised.
That was
honestly.
Like, that was, I know for a fact that, I don't know if it's the same script writer, but across all the movies or who did what, but I know for a fact in the last 2 movies, he was a huge Harry and Hermione shipper. And so even though we know how things are supposed to end with certain people, he still gave a lot of dialogue and things like that in the script and
Yeah.
to back up Hermione and Harry instead of Hermione and Ron.
That would make a lot more sense now.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the same.
Damn you, Steve Kloves.
Yeah.
Damn you.
Yeah, so I know that for a fact, but that also might be into play as to why he didn't seem as important.
Okay.
So we talked about Dementors earlier. Let's talk about another really cool addition to the Harry Potter story is Marauder's map. How cool is that, right? I mean, now for a stalker, it's like a stalker's dream, right? Because you can see where everybody is. But like, it's in the show, in the movie, it's very, it's very useful, cool little what do you call it? Like pamphlet or something?
Tool?
Or like a
map?
It's a map, but I mean, yeah,
map. It's called
Parchment.
the Marauders map. Here's my issue with the movie adaptation of the Marauders map.
Yep.
Aesthetically, it's phenomenal. All right.
Yes.
Mina Lima, the graphic designers and also some prop, makers for the entire franchise, did absolutely amazing work with creating the illustrations of the map, right? It just looks so good. It's like one piece of merch in every Potter collector's collection, right? Myself included.
Yes.
So what I don't like, and there's very few things I don't like that they do in these movies. What I don't like about this is that you don't explain at all who the Marauders were.
Yeah.
And how it's connected to Harry, because one of the Marauders is his father. You also don't get the
even
explanation.
say the word of the Marauders. They don't even say the word Marauders. They never bring it up as to why this thing exists, who created it, and why it's important. They never bring it up.
But they never explained too how Lupin knew what the map was. They never explained how he knew it worked. They never explained how Sirius knew that the map doesn't lie. So for a non-reader like Justin, for example, who has not read the books but has only seen the movies, this just goes over your head. Like you're like, oh, okay, cool, like whatever. But like for us who have read the books and know all this, it's like, how did y'all just miss that? Like, how did you not find a way to explain how this map works and how these people know about it?
And that's that was what I was meaning in the beginning of this pod. That's the one thing that I dislike about this movie, is that they just don't, and that's so important. And same thing, because that ties into what their animagus forms are and why that is important, because there's no reference at all in the movies that Harry's dad's animagus form was a stag. So Harry seeing the stag Patronus,
I think it's my dad. It's like, what?
It's like, it makes no sense unless you know that he was an animagus and his animagus form was a stag. There's no way for you to know that. Right. And it's just, and then I don't know. It's a very hot, touchy subject. Oh, that, and then also it takes away for things in the future, because they do always forevermore after this refer to Peter Pettigrew as Wormtail. Yeah. But and even Voldemort refers to him as that. And no one knows why. No, they never bring it up. And they never bring up about the Patronuses taking shapes either. Like
Harry talking to Snape about Padfoot. He's got Padfoot. He's got Padfoot in the place where it's hidden.
That they never bring those up. And there's things like that it's like, how would that make sense to people who don't know this? And I've had to explain it to people. Like, I've had friends who've only seen the movies and they don't read the books, and they're just like, they have like little questions like that. And I'm like, I have to explain it to them. And it's just, it's detrimental to this movie, but it's also detrimental later on. Because same thing like with Snape and Lily's doe, and why Harry would follow a random doe Patronus that he found in the middle of the woods. Like, they never bring it up.
Yeah. It's very frustrating.
Well, later on in the episode, we're going to talk about another Harry Potter project in the works that might delve deeper into all things Harry Potter. We'll talk about that here in a little while. But final thing about the Marauders map, I just think it visually looks cool. And
Mhm.
on the same note, as I mentioned in the previous two episodes, the previous two movies we talked about, the visual effects still hold up. They continue to look great in
Yeah.
these movies. You know, Harry using the invisible cloak looks cool.
The
Buckbeak,
hippogriff.
yep. The Sirius Black is the dog, the werewolf, like there you go. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
The boggart.
yeah, it's pretty impressive. Yeah, like I think that
Oh my God.
even to
Snape.
nowadays standards.
Snape in the dress and the vulture
Oh, yeah.
hat,
Yep.
and as the Bogart form is.
Yeah, but
just-
also Pavarti's like turning a snake into a terrifying clown. I don't.
she's got issues.
I just want
That's
to.
disturbing.
If Pavarti was like a real person in real life, I would just. My one question is why?
Exactly. Yeah.
Why?
No, you're right, Justin. The visual effects really do hold up. I mean, especially even with the Dementor, when you first see, I mean, you see like a shadow, right? The hooded figure, but when you see the
Mhm.
claw, I say claw, but it's the hand that comes around the door and it's just kind of rotting and skeletal like, and it's just like, it's just, it's gross.
Yeah.
Visual effects in these movies have, up until this point, have not disappointed. There's one movie where they really do disappoint, but that's, again, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, I was just amazed with Buckbeak because Buckbeak just felt so real. And it is like, granted, I was a small child. I was when this movie came out, but like, I just remember being like, there has to be a real or really close looking creature in real life to this because this is insane. And it was just absolutely gorgeous. And the amount of detail that they had in Buckbeak, especially with the flight, but also like in the introductions, just like his small little movements, and even like when he isn't the focal of the point of the screen, it's just
when
was
he's
so
pooping on screen and no one notices.
yes.
I didn't notice that.
I knew Justin didn't notice it.
But
I knew
now,
it.
next time you ever watch this movie, you will catch it, and now
Because
you won't
you
be able to
will.
unsee it. Yes.
It's a wide shot.
And the
So,
boggart, like seeing how the bog, like the swishing of how the boggart changes shape, really
Mhm.
cool because that's how kind of I imagined it to.
mhm.
So it was just perfect seeing that come to life. The Dementor, like you said, the detail in the hand claw thing was perfect, but also I like that it wasn't just like a blob of black in the rough shape of a skeleton form. Like you could see the details. You could see the detail in like I guess the cloth of its cloak. I guess I don't. That's
the
part of its body. I don't know if
texture, it's
you can see the
yeah.
texture. You can see like the definition of like
And
the
the mouth.
soul sucking lip. Like it's just yeah.
Yeah. You get a little bit of Quidditch in this movie as well.
I was going to
right?
bring that up. That was my next point.
Quidditch.
Yeah. And you get a Quidditch match in like, thunderstorm, like dark or rainy conditions, which I thought was very cool,
Mhm.
contrasting to what we've seen in the previous movies where it's bright and sunny and you see the flags and the crests and everything. In this one, though, I noticed something that I didn't notice in the first two movies. Harry has on like a jersey with a number 7. Now,
Mhm.
in the previous movies, did they have numbers? Because I didn't notice them.
That
did
was
not.
a costume change.
Okay. That was cool because that's like a sports thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do
And-
have numbers like in the actual like Quidditch sport, yeah. But
Right.
For
yeah.
the school they didn't.
Is
in the
there
first two.
any significance to Harry having number 7?
Yes, and I can talk about it.
Okay, go for it, Amber.
I love the numerology symbolism. 7 is a very important number because it's a very magical number. There's 7 books. There's 7 Horcruxes. There is 7 players on a Quidditch team. There is 7 floors of Hogwarts. There are 7 Weasley children. I can keep going.
7
And-
movies plus one more. 8. Okay.
Oh my God.
There's a lot to do with 7, and it's 7 years of Hogwarts. You turn it, you don't become an adult at 18 there, you become an adult at 17. There's a lot. And it's just really I could probably come up with more, but those are just
Yeah.
like off the top of my head. I think like in Quidditch I don't know if it's 700 or 777 fouls that you can do,
700 and something fouls. Yeah.
Okay.
but it's sevens. It's
Yeah, there's sevens. Yeah. Sevens in there.
And then same thing, like how many times I won I won a quiz. My old work used to do like quizzes in the mornings, like trivia quizzes, and he targeted this one at me, and I got it just because I guessed it. It was how many times did Harry catch the snitch? And I was trying to do like actual like math, but then I'm like, I'm just going to wing it and say 7, and I was right.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Like you just say, like if you say 7 or 12 in the Harry Potter universe, you're probably right.
Yeah.
But I think 7 is meant for the position of a seeker. So
It
it's
is.
for Harry.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. So, Brittany, any truth to the rumor that he wears number 7 because of Cristiano Ronaldo? Like he's a fan of.
How dare you say that to me on
Ooh.
live?
Ronaldo is a very famous soccer player or
Not
football
CR7.
player.
Yeah.
Thank you. And
Not
thank you for
CR7.
telling me what sport that was, because I wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
No, Brittany,
Justin knows my loathing hate.
Yeah, she doesn't
for
like
Ronaldo.
that guy. So yeah.
By the way, at
Get
this
it.
moment, there are 7 viewers at this time. So
Oh, that's good. Wow.
Oh, I've been aware of this.
Perfect timing. Perfect timing.
But yeah, it's
Now,
can we get
It is
7
the-
likes on this video though? Can we do that? Can we get 7 likes here? I'm gonna throw this up here.
77 likes. Let's keep
Or
it
77, you know.
or 777.
There you go.
Let's
There
do it.
is, but yeah, that's it is definitely 7 is the number for the seeker position in
Okay.
Quidditch. Because later on, when Draco joins the Slytherin Quidditch team, his number is also 7.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, that
Yeah,
makes
so-
sense because, like, if you equate it to like soccer, the number
Mhm.
7 or like the number 10 are like usually like the players who score the goals. Like they're the
Yeah.
kind of the
Yeah.
most crucial players. So that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
But I did
Yeah,
notice that because I was like, I didn't notice numbers in the first because I would have picked up on that because of my
Because
sports
there
background.
weren't.
But that's why.
We
But I
weren't
was like,
there.
so
Now, what is
Very
the field that they play on called, Justin?
a pitch,
Quidditch.
pitch.
What? Very
Pitch.
good. I'm so
Yeah.
happy.
I'm
So
smart.
happy for you.
Very
You're so
smart.
Next, we're just gonna have you watching Muggle Quidditch, and we're gonna go to tournaments. It's gonna be great.
You're gonna play on a broomstick.
I can't imagine what that looks
It's
like.
the only
honestly.
sport I have any knowledge or interest in. Come on, somebody's got to like.
I mean, I definitely would play a video game. Like I can't imagine me hopping around on a broomstick. That would be kind of ridiculous. But
Not if everyone else is doing it.
I mean,
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I've been to one Quidditch tournament, and I've always wanted to go to other ones, but I have to like drive out for the other ones,
mm,
and it's at least an hour or 2 hour drive where they
Yes.
have our tournaments because it's like in another city.
yeah.
But in my new home, there's a Quidditch team, but I'm pretty sure it's a younger person. I'm not an active person, so I'm just fine watching Quidditch, especially considering it really is, guys. I am not kidding. Brittany knows I don't know anything about sports. Anything.
Well,
The
I know
only
lots
thing
about
I know is
Yeah.
Quidditch.
Yeah.
That's the only sport I understand any references to. I know the rules. I know how to play, and yeah. Quidditch is the only one I know anything about.
Wait, is this right?
Hmm?
So Trisha here
Yeah.
says a lot of colleges have Quidditch as a sport
Yes.
these days.
Like,
That I
as
knew,
like an intramural
Mhm.
kind of sport.
like an intramural
yeah.
thing. But
Yeah.
first book came out in 1997. The last book came out in 2007. Oh my god, is
There
that
we go.
right?
Yes.
I was graduating high school when the last book came out. Oh my god.
Well, also, not only that, but the movies, the books ended because the books took place in the 90s, right?
Yep.
yes.
Books took place in the 90s, so the Wizarding War, the Battle of Hogwarts, everything that took place in the last book took place in 1997.
Of course it did.
Took place in 1997, and then the first book was published. So it's like, I open up the close, man. I
Wow. Justin
blowing
will
your
get that
mind here?
reference when we get there. We'll explain.
Also in 97, I was 17 in 97. And then in 2007, I was 27. So the
I was
sevens
3.
keep going.
1997.
You were
Justin was
3 in
officially
1997? Okay.
I was 90. I'm 94.
Yep.
Justin
born in
in
94.
1997. You were 17, so you were officially
Oh, I was
an
driving.
adult
Yeah, I was
in
driving.
the Wizarding world.
Yeah. I am.
Told you, you're the same age as Harry.
I'm not born until the next movie, Goblet of Fire.
Okay.
Goblet of Fire took place in 1994, and I'm not in the Wizarding World. I don't exist yet, but I blew Briggy Hell's mind. See, I'm blowing everyone's mind here. But yes, Texas Potterhead is right. It is many schools play it. I grew up in Arizona. In Arizona, our 3 colleges are ASU, U of A, and NAU. All of them have Quidditch teams. That's the one tournament that I actually had the privilege of going to see because I live kind of closer to ASU, and they were having a tournament. So I went to see a tournament. It was a blast. I had so much fun. But ever since then, all of the tournaments have been at NAU, which is several hours away from me. So I can't go to them, but I want to. And Harvard has their own Quidditch team. Actually, I was just talking about it with Corey literally last night because he, I already told Justin and Brittany this, but off pod. But Corey, my producer, has.
Oh, we lost you.
Oh, I think she froze for a second.
Yeah, she froze. We'll get her back.
Yeah, we will. So in the meantime, until we see Amber come back online, Trisha says she's like, oh good, I'm among my people. Yes, we're all from the same era with the exception of Amber. So yeah, no, we get it. We ain't young anymore.
So Brittany, I was going to ask you, and also Amber when she comes back, but what did you think about Hermione's punch on Malfoy? Malfoy got a mouthful. You know what I'm saying? Like he got knocked out. Yeah.
You are right. So I'm glad you brought that up because this is something that was actually discussed when Tom Felton was doing his book tour, which both Amber and I visited or attended in our respective cities. And Tom brought up about the story when he learned that this was during the filming of Chamber of Secrets, that for Prisoner of Azkaban, Hermione was going to have to punch Draco straight in the mouth. And so he went to Emma during like a break or something in their little, I don't know, catering tent or something. And he said to her, he's like, hey, he's like, you know, do you know that you're going to have to punch me in the next movie? And she's like, no, I didn't know that. Mind you, he's a couple years older than Emma. Yep. And he goes, well, I think we should just like go ahead and practice that now. And so she's like, all right, whack. Like she decked him in real life, like in preparation for this scene. So I think that's quite hilarious because it's just funny how it played out in real life, and then you see it on the silver screen, of course.
Yeah, and they were super close, but it was like, I mean, it was a good punch. Like it was a good, like I was like, wow, that looked kind of real. I mean, I could see like
kind of was.
Yeah. So
yeah. Amber says that she's got to restart her device, so we'll get her back soon. But yes, Trisha, we're young at heart for sure. Harry Potter keeps us young. Can't say the same for Justin. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Don't look at the sides. Let it gray.
Listen, I'm getting them here too. It's fine.
Harry Potter's not helping with that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, you're funny. Yeah, no, I love any scene that has Draco and Hermione because there's a huge fan base out there who ship the two. Right. Hermione, I'm one of them actually, just because it's a fun idea. You know, someone who loathes someone else entirely, right? Because they're not of the same class, they're not of the same like blood status, if you will. Like it's kind of like that forbidden love sort of situation, and Draco can fight it all he wants, but like deep down, he really does love Hermione. And there's so many theories behind all that, and stories that people have written, and they're fun. They're fun in general, but to see the two of them interact with one another is great to see on screen, just because Emma and Tom are just such great friends in real life, but they have to play like enemies on the screen. It's fun.
Kind of like me and you. We play enemies on the screen, but then
in real life I kind of hate you too.
We're actually bigger rivals off the screen.
Yeah, like the fact that I saw you today this morning, man, kind of wanted to deck you in the face. No, I'm just kidding. I would never do that to you. I would never do that to you.
Yeah.
Oh, Trisha, I'm sorry. Don't say that I'm his one true love. Yeah, get in line, girl. Get in line. And Amber's all like, Hermione. Yes. Yes, it is a thing for sure.
So, Brittany, is there anything else from the movie you want to touch on?
Overall, I mean, this movie, the rewatchability for me is always there. I love the spins and original ideas that Alfonso Cuarón added. Like I mentioned earlier about the shrunken head on the night bus. I absolutely love the night bus. That set looks incredible. I've mentioned before that I've had the opportunity to go to the London studio tour. I've seen the actual or one of the actual night buses in the back lot. No, you can't go into it, unfortunately. Sometimes, though, apparently, if you're at Universal in Orlando, sometimes they leave that door open and you can walk through. Just saying. I'm not encouraging you to do that. I'm just saying this is a thing.
Yeah, if you do it and get in trouble, don't blame us. But
don't blame us. No, but it's I love the night bus. Justin, you know, I collect Legos. I absolutely love Legos. Bricky. Shush. Bricky Hallows here is a big Legos fan as well. I have the vintage night bus Lego set, which is one of my all-time favorites. And yeah, I love different aspects of from this movie. The Marauders map we touched on, the time turner. While you know time travel is always tricky, of course, I love the look of the necklace, right, and how it spins. I have something from Pottery Barn Teen. It's actually like a clock stand, but it has the look of the time turner with the the circles, and it does spin, and it does have like the little hourglass in it. So, there's great items that have come out from that movie that we as collectors can have. Some great lines, like I mentioned, the 12 Years of Azkaban delivery is just so iconic. It's a fun movie, and I'm going to welcome Amber back into the pod. Yay!
There she is. She's back.
Sorry, everyone.
But which Amber though? Because we are in the multiverse of Amber, so who knows? Like
she tell
again,
you
you're never allowed
to kill you.
Yeah.
Offline, she'll tell us. Yeah. So Amber, we were kind of wrapping up on the movie. Are there any final thoughts you have for the film?
Not really anything that we haven't already covered. I was still like listening on the chat. But I think we covered it pretty well. I mean, there is a lot of iconic things do come from here. The Patronuses are right on up there. Like people want to know your Hogwarts house. They want to know your wand stats. Well, I want to know your wand stats. And then Patronuses. Like people always ask about the Patronuses. And this is where the first time we see them. And it's really, really cool. And I think it's just amazing. I wish that, like Brittany mentioned earlier at the beginning of this pod, I really would have liked to see Alfonso do other Harry Potter movies. I would have liked to see it. I find it really interesting because I just visually like the vibes of this one. And even though, they had to take out things, because I mean, this movie is a long movie. It's 2 hours and like 20 minutes. Like it's a long movie. I get it. I understand why they had to take things out, but
it's one of the shorter ones though. I mean, like, well, it's kind of in the middle. They're all kind of like 2.5 hours, basically.
Yeah. So it's like, I understand like why in a movie aspect that can't really, you can't include everything until, so I really get that. But I think that he did really well. This movie did really well for what it did cover. And I like it. And again, I love Harry. And so seeing Harry's hair actually look like Harry, and I just really liked it.
Yeah.
I love this movie.
One character I'd be remiss if we didn't mention that we didn't talk about was Hagrid. He got a promotion in this.
Yes, he did.
You'll have any thoughts on Hagrid real quick before we move on?
Professor Hagrid. It was very fitting to put him as the care of magical creatures professor, just because we know his love for all things magical creatures, some dangerous, mostly dangerous. But I think for someone who, once again, another outcast because he's a half giant, for someone to have been outcast and serve as like the groundskeeper for Hogwarts, and then to be asked by the headmaster, hey, would you like to teach, something that you're really passionate about, I think was really just heartwarming. And even though Hagrid had a moment where, yes, Buckbeak, attacks Draco, rightfully so, because Draco was being a little snot, calling him a chicken afterwards. My father will hear about this, and Buckbeak's been sentenced to death. Hagrid's just like beside himself. He's like, they're gonna kill him and they're gonna chop his head off and what have you. And
yeah, and it wasn't Buckbeak's fault. It was that Draco was a little prat.
Yeah, a little bit. Justin, you have a question from Trisha.
I saw that, and Trisha, unfortunately, the answer is no, I have not. But I am rewatching the movies, so baby steps. I'm like, getting into. I'm starting to like it. So,
but his birthday's coming up.
What does that mean? I don't want to read for my birthday. Like,
you might get fun. Audible books then.
Yeah, audiobooks.
Okay, well, that's different. I listen to a ton of podcasts. So that would actually kind of make sense. Okay, yeah,
a little bit. Jim Dale does a great narration for the Harry Potter books. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So that was
I'll convert him, Trisha. Don't worry, I'll convert him.
I'm liking the movies so far. Like I'm on the positive side of Potter. Like I'm. So yes, Trish said she was going to ask. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, you can ask Amber and myself.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We'll
be happy to answer that.
Absolutely. But yeah, I think that pretty much concludes our review for Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Next up will be Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, which came out in 2002. So we'll be doing that probably sometime next month.
It did not come out in 2002.
I'm sorry, 2005. I misread that. Yeah.
Dare you?
2005. We used the time turner, guys.
They went back in time. There we go. Good callback, Amber. Way to go.
Nice.
She saved me. Whichever Amber it was, but I appreciate it.
Oh man.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's get to the real business here. Let's get our weekly or our episodely or whatever Hogwarts Legacy update. Amber, let's start with you. How are you doing on Hogwarts Legacy, the uber popular video game?
I am still loving it. I am still being very, very slow about it because I'm just looking at all the pretty things. I got my vivarium finally set up so I can free and rescue animals, and
Yay!
I spent maybe an hour just fawning over a Niffler and a Puffskein. So because they're just so cute. And then I did save a hippogriff. So I actually got to take my first iconic flight on a hippogriff, and I nearly cried because it was beautiful.
Yay for High Wing.
I know, it was gorgeous and it was beautiful and amazing and wonderful. Had a lot of fun. I also went into a witch's tomb and dealt with Inferi. Which Justin, you don't know what those are yet, but they were spooky, but I did good. I didn't.
Yay.
I beat it on my first try, and but I was spooked to deal with the Inferi. But I'm still going around petting every cat I see. Yeah,
I'm allergic to cats though. The cat hair just kills me, so I can't do it.
Video game cats too.
Yeah, video game.
Especially.
Right.
Yeah. But I love the game so much. Brittany's already done with it. I'm just...
Spoiler alert. Like she was gonna say that.
It's fine.
Sorry. But
it's fine. It's fine. I was keeping Amber up to date with, my progress and whatnot. But I mean, I wasn't going to spoil anything for her because I want her to experience it, like without me saying like, oh, like the vivarium. Like as soon as I got the vivarium, I was like, I need to tell Amber. I'm like, no, I'm not going to tell Amber. I want her to.
It's beautiful.
Oh my God, it's amazing. It's like
it's gorgeous. I'm just like
the room of requirement in general is just really, really amazing, and the fact that the vivarium is within that is super cool. And
had
like
a Doctor Who moment, like it's bigger on the inside, and just freaking out, and it's just
Yeah. Yeah, like Trisha says, this is probably a little bit of a spoiler for you, Amber. There are toys that you can get for the magical creatures in your vivarium to keep them entertained. So it's
I have heard that.
awesome. Yes, it's fun. It's really fun to watch them like interact with the toys and whatnot. There's also one other thing you'll be able to do in the vivarium, which I won't say. But anyway, but yeah,
I just played with I just stared at the moon calf forever. Like
the moon calf
I just
is
love
so
moon
cute.
calves.
The big eyes. The big
I
eyes.
love moon calves so much, and I'm just like, and my boyfriend's really he's an animal lover. He loves animals of all kinds and all sorts, and so
Fictional
he
or not.
was. Yeah, he was away when I got to that point in the game, and so I waited. And when he got back, I went immediately back to the room where I went. I'm like, "Look at this!"
Yeah.
They're
It's totally
adorable.
worth it. But like Amber mentioned, yes, I finished the game. Yeah, I finished it. I don't know what, a week or so ago, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. The obsession was real, y'all. My God. You know,
How many hours did you put in?
Over 100. Yeah, I put in over 100 now, and that's because the competitive side of me with having this PS5, you know, you can get trophies right through PlayStation, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. The last time I had a PlayStation was the PS1, y'all. We didn't have that back in the day.
Trophies came on PS3. So
see, way after my time. So that being said, I'm trying to collect all the things, right? And Hogwarts Legacy, it's an open world concept. So you have regions that you can travel to. There's things that you can collect from there, people that you can fight, treasures, field pages. If you know what I'm talking about. I've got one stupid field page that I can't find in Hogwarts, and it's driving me absolutely bonkers. Thank God for the internet and walkthroughs, because I don't know where I'd be without it, just because it's so immersive, the world that we're in, right?
I'm just really glad that I can finally have a reason now to, destroy the people who are trying to traffic these magical beasts. Like, because I mean, I would beat them up on principle, but I couldn't do anything about the beasts that were trapped in the cages. So now I'm like, yes, I can do it. I can release them. I can help them. I can rescue them.
Exactly.
And Will saw me use ancient magic on a guy, and ancient magic kind of just lifts the guy up and slams them into the ground.
That's one. That's one of the moves. Yes.
That's one of the moves. And Will saw that, and he's just like, "Why did you just kill a man?" Yeah. And I'm like, "He's trafficking animals," and he's like, "Oh, okay."
Fair enough. Yeah. No, same thing with the ancient magic. There's different like maneuvers. You can call up lightning to, come down on a person, the move that Amber just explained. And then Justin, there's a move very much similar to what we see Hulk do to Loki in the Avengers. And that is freaking hilarious. The first time that happened and John witnessed it, he busted out laughing. He's like, what the hell, So Trisha's first said
murder people.
A little bit. I'm a Slytherin. What do you expect? Trisha says she loves the purple toads. They are kind of cute in a weird way. I don't know how to explain it. I like frogs, don't get me wrong, but the toads, like, I don't know, they look kind of funny. She also said Brit is giving Ravenclaw vibes. That is my secondary house. First is Slytherin, second Ravenclaw. Don't care about the rest. Sorry. And Bricky is asking if I finished the quests or 100% field guide. I finished all the quests. I've finished all the quests, side quests, that kind of thing. I'm trying to work on finalizing like all the little trophies. So like field guides, the collection chests. I think I'm missing a few, and some conjurations. I think that's what I'm trying to locate as well, because again, open world concept, you have to literally travel everywhere in order to find everything, and it's like really tedious.
Every nook and cranny.
So yeah, I've actually taken a break from Legacy as soon as I finish the main quest, which I'm gonna leave my thoughts to myself. I'll let Amber finish the main quest and then we can discuss. But once I've finished everything, mainly, I've decided to take a break because I was spending way too much time and staying up way too late playing the game. So we're taking a break.
Yeah. So you're taking a break by playing another Harry Potter game.
Why you gotta do me like that, Justin? This is why we fight.
Tell the people.
Tell the people. So because PlayStation was having one of their spring sales up to 75% off, I found the full Lego Harry Potter collection from your regular $19.99 to $3.99. Y'all, how do you pass that up? Answer, you don't. You buy it. So that's what I did. John even told me, he screenshot it, sent it to me. He's like, buy. And I'm like, okay. So
Don't tell me twice.
don't tell me twice. The last time I played this game was on the Wii. It was very, very long time ago. And now that I have this PlayStation 5, I've got my 4K set up. Oh my goodness gracious, y'all. I cannot watch anything below 4K ever again. Unfortunately, when I go to cable, it's 1080, but you know, it is what it is. So shout out to Corey, who's joining us now in the chat. Welcome, Corey, and welcome to the world of Harry Potter. I've heard good things that you have finished Fantastic Beasts and are beginning your journey with Harry Potter. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, we'll make a wizard of him yet.
Yes,
he's not quite at Azkaban yet, but
him and Justin. So
yeah,
we will. But anyway, so yeah, I'm now taking a break from Hogwarts Legacy to play Lego Harry Potter, and now I'm on movie or book 6, if you will, for the game. Yeah, I can go through these things really quickly. This is like my binging problem. This is partially.
I mean, on Saturday I played Hogwarts Legacy for 6 hours, and yeah, I didn't get far because I was just distracted by the animals.
Yeah, fair enough. So Corey says he did really like Fantastic Beasts. Excellent.
Yeah, he was like live texting me through it. It was great. I love when people are like watching a show or a movie for the first time and that I really enjoy and like sharing their thoughts like in real time with me. It really just makes me very, very happy. It gives me so much serotonin. Continue to do so. It makes me so happy.
Yes, I know. When we get to Supernatural, we'll get there. That's just a big commitment, y'all.
I'm just waiting. I'm waiting.
JJ, my magical memoirs, all the way from Australia, is joining us here in the live chat. Thank you so much, JJ. Love you. Hope you're doing well. We've wrapped up talking about Prisoner of Azkaban. We're talking a little bit about Hogwarts Legacy, and then we're going to be talking about the big news that dropped today.
Yep.
From
That's
Warner
my
Brothers.
mom. My mom's in the chat.
Hi, Mom. Yay, she was able to chat in the chat. Yay.
Love you, Mom.
Thank you for joining
Probably my nephew. Hi, Gabriel.
Hi.
How do we follow that? You know, like, and now I've got to talk about a news story, but
I know, right?
Yeah, let's get to our final item of the day. So, and this is like breaking news pretty much. This is big news. You know, my journalism teachers would hate the fact that I buried the lead, but today was a big day. Warner Brothers Discovery, they made a lot of announcements. The main one was that HBO Max is no more. In late May, it's just gonna be called Max, which I'm not a fan.
Very distressed about that.
Luna loves HBO, and I'm right there with her. She likes Succession, Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, all that stuff. But no, so HBO Max is going to be no more. It's going to be called Max. Discovery is going to be Discovery's Plus is going to be mixed and matched with Max, and you know, so Max had to give us some things to get hyped about. Like they announced the new Game of Thrones series, which I'll believe it when I see it because they're already working. I mean, they're already in the middle of a couple other ones, so sure. But what pertains to us is they made an official announcement with a little teaser video. There will be a Harry Potter TV series, a reboot of the Harry Potter story that they're saying is a faithful adaptation of the iconic books. The idea is it's going to be a season, a book a season basically. So I guess we're going to have 7. We mentioned 7 earlier. So there's going to be 7 seasons of this. Amber, what are your thoughts on this? We kind of talked about this a few weeks ago when it was kind of a rumor, but now that it's official, what do you think about the rebooted Harry Potter TV series on Max?
I'm very excited because back when we did mention it a couple weeks ago, and even before that, like I'm pretty sure years ago, I've been talking about this. If they were to ever do a reboot, I would want it to be a show instead of a movie reboots. Like I say that. So when the fact that they said that, yeah, we're doing it as a TV series and we're doing it a book season, that was exactly what I said would be ideal for me. That being said, there is a lot of big shoes to fill because, and then also how it says that it's going to be an accurate and faithful retelling of the books. So they're probably going to fix the issues that, because me and Brittany are not the only fans that are kind of sad that Prisoner of Azkaban didn't include the Marauders explanation. So I feel like there's a lot of fans that are like that I feel like that's one of the things that they are going to touch on now. They're like, okay, we heard you. Calm down. We got you. But I don't know, that brings into question about who's going to play these very iconic characters these are huge shoes to fill, especially and also like I'm even getting nitpicky about how much more accurate is this going to be, because the Marauders and like Snape and Lily and James, like that whole like generation, they were aged up in the movies to match Alan Rickman, because JK really wanted Alan Rickman to play Snape, and but they are like in their mid, like let me think. I can do math. Well, Lily and James were 21 when they died.
Yeah, they were very young.
They were 21. Like, it's...
So then you put Remus, Sirius, Snape in them. They're like in their 30s.
Yeah, they're like in their
teaching.
early 30s.
Yeah.
When we see them in the books and in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in their early 30s, and that's just completely different. And it's weird. And I mean, I always thought it would be really interesting to see, because that makes it the Lily and James's death by Voldemort so much more tragic, because when we see them in the Mirror of Erised, we see 21-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're barely not even kids anymore.
They're babies.
And it's just it kind of just heightens the emotion of it and how tragic it is, especially with how with everything that goes on with Sirius in this movie, like how he waited so many years in Azkaban. I'm trying really hard not to quote it. How he waited so long in Azkaban, and all of the things that Remus had to go through. Like, it's just, I don't know. That's me being nitpicky, but huge shoes to fill, replacing these characters and having to play them again. But I'm also... I'm waiting for them to say how many episodes, because HBO typically does 10 episodes a season.
Right.
And that's typically what they do. Part of my brain was like, can I have 20, please? Like, I want all of the details, and the books only get longer.
I feel like they can't have a limit of episodes per season, just because as each book progresses in size, of course, you're getting a lot more story, and this is where I have very mixed feelings when it comes to this. Yes. Do I love all things Harry Potter? Of course I do. Would I want more Harry Potter? Of course I do. Here's the problem. There's a few things. I'll try to be quick about it. So we have incomplete storytelling for Fantastic Beasts. I kind of feel like that should be wrapped, right?
And I feel like they're not going to now because of this. Like, they're taking away from that to focus on this.
So, and not that I wouldn't want to see a more faithful story of Harry Potter in a TV series, because I think you can probably tell the story a little bit better that way. Especially they're advertising it as more accurate to the book, right? Okay, cool. I'm gonna hold them to that, right? You don't deliver, I'm gonna be upset. But we've already had the storytelling of Harry Potter. Let's not do what Star Wars was doing and try to reshape that story, but have a different main character, let's say, right? In this case, we're retelling the story that's already been told. Okay. My concern also is knowing that the author is going to be an executive producer for the series, which fine, it's her story, whatever. I'm very concerned about political or views in general being shoved into the story, whether that be from the author or that from the producers and directors. You know, who
Mhm.
are we going to play nice or not? To spite her, are we going to try to cast a trans actor? You know, a trans man or a trans woman.
Yeah.
You know, just see what I'm saying? Or is she going to pull the
Mhm.
plug because that's not what she wants? You know, see what I'm saying? Like there's a lot
It's
of
a
like
big minefield.
it's a lot of unknowns, and it concerns me. But mainly because we've already gotten this story in the movie form. Granted, it's not book accurate. Let's tell a different story. Let's tell the story about the founders of Hogwarts,
Mhm.
the
Founders, the
Marauders,
someone else
Voldemort's
completely.
Voldemort's origins. I mentioned before that there was a
Mhm.
French production company who did the House of Gaunt, which I think was
Mhm.
extremely well done for being a short movie.
Yeah.
Albeit I don't know how accurate it really could have been, but like you go based on the story that we get from Half-Blood Prince,
Mhm.
I think it was extremely well done. I want to see those stories. We've already had Harry Potter. Let's expand the universe, but tell other stories. Just my
Yeah.
thoughts. So I'm going to go to the chat real quick. Trisha says she's very excited, but hope they really give us book accuracy. Girl, same. She continues to say, I hope that's not one book per season.
I think
That's what they're going to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that they already. I think that in the article that they mentioned that they do plan to do a book a season.
Yeah. With that being said, she says it's a fine line they have to walk by stating they are doing book accuracy. I agree. And as I say,
Yeah.
I don't think they should put episode limits per season.
Mhm.
You know, season 1, maybe the shortest compared to that of season 7, because season 7, no, I'm sorry. Book 5, I think is the largest book out of the whole
Mhm.
series. So
Longest book, shortest movie.
Exactly. So, which actually I would be fine if it was a very short season. Book 5 is not my favorite. Come at me, y'all. I do not care.
We'll get there.
JJ
We'll get there.
JJ says, I'm cautiously excited. I did not think it was actually going to happen, but now that it is, I think they will make it spectacular and full of fan service, hopefully. That's the other thing I'm concerned about. Fan service. If we're going to say we're going to keep it book accurate, then how can we really fan service outside of, let's say, just fan casting? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And they also did say that they want to do a completely new cast, but
That's fine.
Yeah,
That's
which is fine, but I feel like some people would want, like, if they do go with the fan serviceness, like they could, I don't know, but Tom Felton is so in love with the Wizarding World. Have him play Lucius Malfoy. Like, it would be amazing. He would love it. He would love to play his own father. Like, it,
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
like, there's just things like that it's just, they could, but I don't know if they would. And that's what I mean. I don't know how they say that they're going for book accuracy, but how much?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we're probably going to get Harry with green eyes, and we're probably going to get Lily with actually green eyes now, finally. Thank God. But the Marauders are going to be mentioned. Like, things are going to be explained that weren't previously explained. I don't know, but how accurate are they going to keep things? And also, a side note, but kind of going into my wandness, like, fiasco, that I constantly have going on. They trademark all of the wand designs for most of the main characters.
Mhm.
And a couple years ago, when Wizarding World created their own logo, they are wands. There's like 9
Mhm.
wands, and with very unique characteristics, like, and designs. Are they going to keep the same? That's something that I've been thinking. Like, are they going to keep the wand designs the same, or are they
Possibly.
going to, or are they going to change it?
Possibly.
Like,
So
that's
two
something
other things I think that just need to kind of stay at the forefront of everyone, whether you're a Potter fan or not.
Mhm.
This is not a replacement of
Yes.
the movies, right? We're not replacing Dan Rad, Emma, Rupert. You know, this is meant to.
This is an opportunity to make more money, to mine
Thank
the
you, Justin.
IP field that is Harry
Yes.
Potter.
Thank you, Justin.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I
This
want
is-
to say, just
This
real
is about
quick,
the almighty dollar.
Yeah, well, but I want to say that I think that, you know, I would understand if for those of you out there who are excited, I get it, but I think you should be cautious, and here's why. So
Mhm.
today they removed HBO from HBO Max in the title,
Mhm.
right? Now HBO, the brand, still is going to live on. It's going to be one of the tiles on Max. However, I think this show is a Max original and it's not going to be an HBO. Now, HBO is high quality. I've mentioned before Succession, Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. These are upper echelon, some of the best shows we've ever seen, Sopranos, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I wonder, will the Max originals have the same quality, the same budget? Now, you'd think a Harry Potter show would have a big budget, but I just wonder about the quality because, you know, Disney has done the same thing with Star Wars and Marvel. They're mining
and they're
the IP.
currently doing it with Percy Jackson. I feel
Right.
like that's another thing as to why they wanted to do it as a show, and they're focusing on book accuracy is because Disney is over here doing Percy Jackson, and they said then they have the writer working with them on it to make it more accurate than the really, really bad adaptations of the movies.
Yeah.
I think though that you like because the movies, like again, I just started this rewatch with y'all, and I'm 3 movies in, and I think that the movies are all quality, right? They're all quality. I like I said, I don't like the third one as much as I like the first 2, but they're quality movies. You know, you don't want what has happened to Star Wars on TV to become what happens to Harry Potter, because Star Wars on TV is not high quality. I mean, there's things about, hey, Baby Yoda's cute as hell, right?
I love me, Grogu.
You know,
Look!
the Mandalorian as a character is pretty cool. There you go. But the quality level of those Star Wars shows is not on the level that I would think that Harry Potter fans would want for their precious, you know, story. So
Borderlining Lord of the Rings there by saying precious, but yes.
No, that's a good example.
That's another example.
Amazon had the Rings of Power, which I
Not
watched.
good.
You didn't watch it, Brittany, but I watched
I watched
it.
1 episode. That was enough.
It was a pretty dull show. I mean,
Yeah.
it was going head to head with House of the Dragon, and literally more would happen in 5 minutes of House of the Dragon than happened in the entire season of Rings of Power. And that was not, I mean, they spent a ton of money on it, but it was not the quality of like House of the Dragon, like the HBO shows. So I really think that that's going to be important. You know, for example, something more in my world, there's going to be a Penguin series, you know, from the Batman series, from the Robert Pattinson, Matt Reeves deal.
Oh my God, is Colin Farrell gonna be?
Yeah, Colin Farrell. Oh yeah, they released the trailer today. I mean, it's been in the
Nice.
works for a while. They've filmed a lot of it already.
Nice.
Now that show looks like it's HBO quality. Now I think it's getting tagged with the Max original. So maybe what I'm saying is invalid, but
we won't know until we get it. But here's the other thing I wanted to say, the 2 points, right? So I've actually just forgot my first point. This is not replacing Harry Potter. The second point I was wanting to make is that, or ask, is this needed now? Now, with everything Justin just discussed about Warner Brothers and, you know, it being the cash cow, because Warner Brothers, and Justin and I have talked about this extensively with DC and things like that.
Yes.
It's a mess to me personally.
But they make
to
money.
me.
Like
They make money.
Batman is a cash cow also. You know,
No,
like
you're
Superman
absolutely
could be
correct.
too. Yeah, right.
You're absolutely correct. But what I'm saying is with Harry Potter, is it needed now?
No. Well, to me, I feel like no. To me, I feel like it wasn't, it's not really needed. And like the Texas Potterhead was saying, that, you know, people want Voldemort, they want the Black family, they want the founders, they want other wizarding schools and the Marauders.
They want the ghosts.
I love that's a good point about the wizarding schools, because that was something that we had hopes for with Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, it's
like
good.
before Fantastic
Ilvermorny.
before Fantastic Beasts came out is when back when it was Pottermore and before wizardingworld.com, they put articles, like little writings about the other wizarding schools, which we never had before, and like a whole backstory about Ilvermorny. And so all of us are like, oh, so is this movie going to like incorporate some of that? And no, they just mentioned it passively, and we got a school song. Cool.
That's a deleted scene, but yes.
As a deleted scene, yes. So it's like we learned about Ilvermorny, but there are other wizarding schools, and so all of us were like, okay, well, we knew that Fantastic Beasts that were going to start taking place in different countries. That'd be really cool if they were in the different schools. And in the second and third movie, we thought we were going to get other wizarding schools. No, we just got Hogwarts, which just kind of felt like, yeah, we all love Hogwarts. Hogwarts is our home, but we've already seen it. And what I liked about the Fantastic Beasts movies is we're seeing adult wizards living adult lives outside of just what's going on in Hogwarts.
Yep.
And people like kind of don't really realize Voldemort was only a threat in the UK. He was not but Grindelwald
He's not
was
Gellert.
Grindelwald was a international threat.
Yeah.
And I think that's so much interesting to see how adult wizards in different countries and wizards in different world, social classes and backgrounds, and how all of that interacts. And even if they don't continue with Fantastic Beasts, they could do stuff in the different schools. There's literally an entire wizarding world that we could explore. And I think what happened is that they realized with the mess that happened with Fantastic Beasts and JK's beliefs, and how that just how that negatively impacted the second and third movie.
Yep.
And everything with Johnny Depp, which is really unfortunate. Brittany and I have already discussed that, and we have thoughts about it. It's just, I feel like they're like, oh, we already tried that, so we're not going to do that. We're not doing that. We're just going to stick with what we can get us money, and that's Harry.
And that's rehashing a story that we've already told.
Yeah,
and promising. I just hope it's not an overprom, like they overpromise and then they underdeliver. You know what I'm saying? Right. I hope it doesn't turn into that kind of situation. And I know that it will be upset. And I agree that now, because if they are going for accuracy, it will be very fan servicey. But I don't want it to be cringeworthy fan servicey. No. I don't want it to be have that energy where they're kind of going do I get a laugh out of you? It's no, I just want to enjoy the story that I love. And I don't know. I feel like there's just so much in the wizarding world, and they just decided not to do it because they're scared of what happened to Fantastic Beasts. Here's the thing. I need Book Ron to come through. I need Ginny to have a freaking personality. Yes. Oh my God. I need her to have a personality. Justice for the Weasleys. Justice for the Weasleys. We need to see Charlie. Yeah. Can we get a Charlie? Please. Can we get a Charlie in there, and we'll be fine with that. Just give us. Oh man. Can we get to see Gilderoy Lockhart again, y'all? I need to see St. Mungo's Hospital. I need to see it. Can we know about what happened with Neville's family? Will we get to actually see them? There's a lot.
Do y'all think that Amber Heard could play McGonagall?
I need you to get out of this pod right now, Justin. I will call you by your government name if you do not.
Well, I'm hosting the show, so it's kind of tough.
I can kick you out of here right now.
Oh, I know you could.
She's on down. Her finger is hovering.
Luna's about to dislike you. I want to mention something that JJ here asked. If it sucks, we can all pretend it didn't happen, like The Cursed Child. Listen, that was a tough read. I read it in one night, but that was a tough read. And I was just like, why? Yeah. Now,
tough read, amazing performance. I will admit, because I hated it reading it just a couple months ago. I got to actually watch it. It's amazing seeing it. Amazing production on its own. Amazing stage magic. Really great as a story, and I consider it just really good fan fiction.
So on that, because this was big when Cursed Child was coming out, a Harry Potter play, right? But they decided to cast an African American Hermione. Is that something that we'll get to see in this TV series? Is that something that's controversial, if you will? You know what I'm saying? Not that I care. I personally couldn't care less whomever they cast, as long as that person can play the part, and play it well. I do not care. But again, with Max or whoever the hell they are saying we're going to keep it book accurate, then you better. I will be watching and reading at the same time. Yeah, you better do it right. Just freaking saying. Trisha says, I'm really surprised they didn't focus on other schools with this new series, because they would have so much creative freedom without upsetting anyone. I agree.
Exactly.
I agree. Bricky says, I hope we don't get actor changes. That'll be a big no-no for me. They have to stay the 7 seasons. For the most part, yes, I will agree to that. Now, things happen. People unfortunately pass away.
Like Richard Harris.
It happens.
But I think it's a safe bet that if whoever is cast as Harry Potter or Ron
They've
or
got to
Hermione,
commit.
they're going to be
commit.
locked into long-term contracts.
Oh,
That's
Yeah,
the way
just
it's
like
gonna
Dan
be.
Rad and Emma Watson and Rupert
Rupert.
Grint were.
Yeah. No,
And that's
I
something
agree.
else. Sorry, Brittany, last thing I was going to say about this. That's something else. We don't know when this would possibly come out. I would say 2025, 2026 at the earliest, probably. I don't
I've
think they
heard-
gave a date. I mean, that to me,
So-
that's a pretty big undertaking. I would think it would take it some time to put that together.
So when I first heard the rumors about a possible television series that whoever was going to get it wanted to have it premiere for the 25th anniversary of Philosopher's Stone, which that's in a couple of years' time, right? Just like you
2-3
mentioned,
years.
2025, 2026. That's fine. I mean, okay, great. It's just I'm still conflicted about, do we need it? Do we need it 25 years after the first movie?
Yeah.
I mean, like, let it breathe. You know what I'm saying? Like, just
And
let it
I mean,
Popular-
breathe.
Characters get rebooted all the time. Think about Spider-Man. Think about how many Batmans.
I
Like
know.
every 4 or 5 years,
Well,
someone new.
And have
puts in
they
the
all
towel.
been good? Have they all been good though?
but
I
what I
think-
was gonna
yeah.
mention though is, and I think we three are kind of a good way to show this is that there Harry Potter has the Wizarding World itself just has a wide age range, but my generation currently they've already been married or getting married and they're starting to have kids. Like my best friend just had a baby last year, and it's so it's just, I think it's already been over 20 years since the first movie came out. I think that this is it's not needed. Not like you're saying, Brittany, like you're saying, it's not needed, but I'm not surprised because all of the kids who grew up with it are now adults with their own children who are going to get their own children into it. And
Right.
like my nephew is the age that I was when I first saw the first movie. So watching the movies with him for the first time will be amazing. And if I were to share it like as this new accurate show, that would be interesting. So it's kind of like creating
Sure.
a new generation, even though it's
Sure.
not really new. It's just kind of revitalizing it. So
Absolutely.
again,
I
not needed,
get it.
but
I get it from that
Yeah.
standpoint. I mean, I have a a great niece. So weird to say now. I'm 30, almost 34. I shouldn't be saying that, but anyway, nonetheless, my great niece. You know, she's 6 months old. She's gonna grow up knowing Harry Potter because her aunt is a big, Potter fan, obviously,
Mhm.
and she's gonna like it whether she knows it or not.
Likes it or not, yeah.
And yeah, exactly. When she turns 9 3/4, I'm gonna have her sorted into her Hogwarts house. Like, y'all think I'm playing? I'm not. It's gonna
No,
happen.
I'm waiting until they're
Her
11.
parents don't know it yet, but it's happening. Anyway, side.
I'm waiting till they're 11. I have a niece turning 11, and
No, that's so
I'm
sweet.
waiting.
No, but like, I just I get the whole, like, you want to introduce it to a whole new generation. But again, like, these movies are not that old. I mean, you put Philosopher's Stone, it's barely 21 years old.
Mhm.
20, 21, 22 this year or whatever. So
Yeah.
I mean,
2001 is when the first one came out.
yeah, so it's like, it's not that old of a movie. Now,
Yeah,
if
but
you
even the
wait
Scream
another-
movies are getting remakes. Not remakes, but they're getting like additions to their storylines. And
well,
like,
sequels, fine, but like, this is
Yeah.
a retelling of a story that's already been
Oh,
told.
I mean, I'm gonna full blown reboot the whole Fast franchise like in 5 years. So just get ready.
Oh. Because of where you live and you constantly hear the traffic.
There's
I
a
get
lot
it.
of
I know.
yeah. I can shoot a lot of scenes by my apartment window. Trust me, there's some action going on. So.
Yeah. So Trisha says, I mean, the biggest tell on this has been the Spin Master toys coming out the last few years, targeting a new generation. I get it.
Yeah.
Any opportunity to make money, they're gonna go for it.
And like if you're
Consumerism,
gonna,
gotta love it.
like if you're the head of Warner Brothers Discovery, this guy David Zaslav, he's the CEO. If you're gonna make a big splash with the Harry Potter IP, which character is the most valuable character? Harry Potter. So you've gotta
You got to do that right.
They did a conference call a few months ago, and they mentioned Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Harry Potter, Harley Quinn, like all these characters that they named like individually, you better believe we're going to see those characters a lot. You know, like they're
Mhm.
going to make their money
Mhm.
off those characters' backs. So
For
I'm just really, I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm excited. There's a lot going into it. And obviously, since Brittany and I have very Wizarding World centric channels, we are probably going to be covering it in all its ways, shape, and forms. But
yeah. Speaking of those
Probably.
channels, Amber, you have a wonderful channel. Why don't you promote that now?
Thank you. I am my other channel, my channel here on YouTube is OllivAmber's Wands, and it's a study of wands and wand lore in the wizarding world. So I go into the cultural, historical, and symbolic meaning behind the woods and the magical beasts that form the cores of the wands, and even the length and flexibility. I get into as many details as possible to pair these wands and see how accurate these little these wand specs are to their characters that match them. And it's a lot of information, but it's a lot more fascinating than sounds right off the bat, because there's so much more symbolism and detail that's in there, in the symbolism of what wood and what core makes up a wand that chose that wizard. And it's just, wands are semi-sentient little beings. I love them. So that's what I do on my channel, as I just study wands, and I currently am doing wand analyses and with characters. And I've been taking a little bit of a hiatus since October, but I do plan in the next couple of months to come back at it.
Very cool.
Yes. And you can find Amber's social media in the description box down below. You can follow her on Instagram if you already haven't. And you can go subscribe to her YouTube channel, again, with that link in the description box.
And Brittany, you have a pretty magical channel yourself.
I mean, Luna thinks so.
Luna disagrees right now, though. Yeah.
Well, she just wants mom's attention,
I know.
and mom's not giving it to her right now. So that means we got to wrap up soon. Anyway, so yes, I do have a YouTube channel. It's called Brittany's Magic Trunk. I do unboxings for subscription, if I can say that, subscription boxes, Lego speed builds, DIYs, that kind of thing. Amber and I have also done a couple of podcasts of our own over there as well, which was very fun. Amber, actually, the very first one that we did was today, a year ago, on Fantastic Beasts. I know. Isn't that crazy?
No way, really?
It popped up on my Instagram memories, so that is
that is bizarre to me.
I know, but think about it. Secrets of Dumbledore came out a year ago.
No, it didn't. No.
So I know.
Oh.
Bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. So yeah, if you're into unboxings, if you're into Lego speed builds, I do have one that I'm editing right now. I shot it over a month ago, but then, Hogwarts Legacy happened and life, changed. So I'm going to get back to posting YouTube videos very, very soon. So if you haven't done so already, you can check out the links in the description box down below for myself as well as Amber.
And speaking of anniversaries, Brittany, we're celebrating an anniversary today also with the Watchers. 5 years of the Watchers in the Basement today.
So exciting.
Yeah, unbelievable.
That actually feels way more than 5 years ago. It feels like 12 years.
What started in a very, very cold basement TV studio is now flourishing from our homes.
It is. And
really
you're right,
is.
Justin. No, it really is, because it first started off with like you, me, George, Frank, and Nathan, who's mostly behind the camera. Yep. But then COVID happened, and we were doing the pods from our home virtually, of course. Yep. And now we've expanded the Watchers network. We've added Amber here. Yep. We've added Tristan. Yep. We've added Marcy, and we've been able to expand our catalog. So y'all, help continue grow our audience. We're currently at 240 subscribers. We're trying to get to 250. That's just 10 more subscribers. Like, help make that happen.
And we've got so much coming up. Like,
oh my God.
Until we're doing 2 pods a week until like mid-June, at least, if not further. So we've got a ton coming your way. Next week,
I would like to cover Yellow Jackets. If anyone wants to watch Yellow Jackets,
I need to get Showtime. I need to get Showtime.
I haven't watched it.
I know.
I got to talk to my sister about hooking me up with the account. I think George watches it. I think George watches it.
He does, yeah. We talked about it at like the yearly when we did the
wrap up.
year,
Yeah.
the year-end wrap up.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. we did, so.
I have thoughts. I need to talk about it. We only have 3 episodes out right now in the 2nd season. It is great. I want to talk about that. I would like to. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but whenever Percy Jackson comes out, I would like to watch that.
Dude, I'm watching it. I'm here for it.
We can
We're covering it. It's fine.
I
It
am
might just
here
be the
for
2 of us. It's fine.
That's fine. That's how we did Handmaid's Tale.
This is true.
And
This is
Interview
also
with the
true.
Vampire. We got
That was
this.
fun.
Yeah,
That
y'all
was
are
fun.
y'all agree. Y'all don't need me. I'm just like the third wheel. I'm just the host
No,
guy.
you're just
I'm just the one who does
muggle.
all the research.
No,
You're
you
just
bring
the-
a certain muggle
We're the
quality
muggle.
to
That's
this.
right.
It's
There you go.
great.
Right, exactly.
Oh,
So let's wrap the episode. This has been a great episode.
yes.
If I do say so myself, and I do. I think it's great. That was weird.
Hashtag humbled, Justin.
Humble. I'm very humble.
Hashtag humbled.
So now you know what we think about the Prisoner of Azkaban, Hogwarts Legacy, and the breaking news that there's going to be a Harry Potter TV series. We want to know what you think about it. And Brittany, how can people tell us what they think about it?
Like today, like what Trisha, Bricky, JJ, and Mel have done. Join us in our live chats. They're a lot of fun, very engaging, if I do say so myself, just because we have the opportunity to answer your questions in real time as we're doing this pod and just sharing each other's opinions and just kind of bouncing ideas off each other. So just join us for the live streams. And to make sure that you don't miss out on those live streams, y'all, be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit the like button on this. It helps us out with the algorithm. And don't forget to hit the notification bell. That way you will be alerted to our next live stream. So Trisha is actually asking a question. None of y'all watch Power. I find myself always wishing y'all covered that.
That's a
never
Stars series, I think.
Never heard of her.
I've never watched it. It's on Stars, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
Pretty
okay,
sure,
don't have,
she,
don't,
she definitely
don't
has
have
that. Yeah.
Don't have stars.
I don't
Sorry.
have Stars either, but I've heard it. I've seen it like on Amazon, on my Fire Stick. It'll be like there's an ad for it. So
Very
I think
good.
I think Frank likes it,
I
honestly.
I have seen it.
I think
I
Frank
think I've
watched
seen like things of it, but I haven't watched it.
Okay.
Mm. Yeah, Frank and George, like they watch all these things, but like we don't always have the same platforms and stuff like that. So yeah, that's why we try to cover what we can. So but that's something we'll add to the list, and I ask the guys if they watch it, they want to cover it. We'll try to make that happen.
Yep.
Also, aside from following us here on YouTube, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Watchers Basement. Yes, we post on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also use the hashtag Watchers Basement to help grow our audience. As I said, we're on the road to 250 subscribers. That's 10. We're 10 away. 10 away, y'all. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell the Dementors, tell Prisoners in Azkaban. Like, tell everybody about us, please. We do enjoy doing these pods just for funsies. It's been a lot of fun. And if you're not into our video podcast or cannot join us for our live stream, don't worry. You can watch the replay on your own time, or you can check us out on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, where you actually can watch our video.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't forget to give us a 5-star rating. We appreciate it. Follow us there as well. So
Thank you, Brittany. I appreciate it. So for Brittany, for Amber, I'm Justin saying have a good night. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.